Okay, buddy. I want you to memorize a few terms.
What? Why?
Come on, you might learn something for a change.
Fine.
Here we go. Review, Jimmy, apartment, comeback.
Cashew, department. Oh, sorry, Jimmy, sir. No chance. I don't remember anything.
No worries. I'm now going to teach you a technique that will help you to memorize things easier. It's called visualization. I'm going to tell you a story on which basis you will learn all the terms.
Okay, sounds cool.
Alright, stand straight, close your eyes and breathe. Please cooperate with me. Here we go. You're coming late for the review. Again, Jimmy is pissed. He throws you out of his apartment and you'll never come back.
What?
You heard me. Go.
But...
Servus Freunde, my name is Jimmy Cage.
And I'm Deniz, the Buddymeister.
And today's film was once again picked directly for us by one of our supporters. Vishnu sent a huge super chat during our January live stream, and he chose the 2005 Malayalam language drama Thanmathra.
Thanmathra, which can be translated as molecule or molecular, was written and directed by Blessy, and the story is based on a short story by Padmarajan called Orma, which means remembrance.
Thanmathra stars Mohanlal as Rameshan, an honest and sincere secretariat employee and union leader who lives a happy life with his family, his wife Leka, his son Manu and his daughter Manju. But he suddenly starts to develop problems with his memory. What starts as commonplace omissions and absent-mindedness quickly grows into handicapping cognitive and behavioral impairments, and it ultimately leads to him being diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease.
But it takes some time until we get there. Thanmathra is a slow burn, if you will, and I like that very much.
Me too. Everything is set up slowly and carefully. The movie takes its time to introduce us to the family, their loving dynamic, and what kind of man Rameshan is.
It feels so comfortable, so warm and welcoming. Everything's fine. It's Malayalam chill in a slightly different environment.
Yeah, after some time, Rameshan's father Krishnan, played by Nedumudi Venu, is introduced. The family is visiting him for a few days. And that's a very strong dramatic choice, to show the normalcy, to show how Rameshan is taking care of his father, because that's the way it usually goes when your parents are getting older. And there's this very poignant little moment when Krishnan is addressing how happy and relieved he is when his son comes visiting, because then he doesn't have to worry about a thing.
This moment leaves such an impact because everything changes completely once the Alzheimer's disease is showing its devastating effects and Rameshan becomes the one who needs care.
We go back to his father's place, but now it's very much a reversal from that previous scene.
Yes, and it's hard to cope with this new situation in general, because the daily lives that even we as viewers have gotten attached to is turned upside down, and it's done in quite an elaborate and interesting way how the disease creeps up on Rameshan and slowly makes its way into the story.
Thanmathra very carefully sprinkles in the first signs of Rameshan's memory loss. At first, he has trouble to remember the name he called the girl back in their childhood. Then it's the lyrics of a song that he usually knows by heart.
And after some time, his behavior becomes more erratic and irritating.
He has this loud outburst when he can't find an important file from work. He's in a state his family has never seen him in. Normally, he's this very calm, thoughtful and loving family man, but he loses it completely when he's just not able to find his file.
The look on his face when he finally does find it in the frozen food compartment, and when he realizes that it must have been him who put it there, it's so great. He's nervously laughing with his family, but you can see that he's actually terrified about what's happening to him.
Alzheimer's is a disease that begins slowly and for years it can get by undetected. And it's one of the film's strengths in the first half to depict this slow deterioration. And Mohanlal does a fantastic job in displaying that. Rameshan is a very smart and intelligent guy, and when he all of a sudden notices that he can't remember certain things, it's very troubling. And you can feel his frustration and disbelief.
Yeah, and it's not like it's this steady decline with Alzheimer's disease. It really comes in waves, which makes it even more frustrating frustrating and terrifying. It can change from one moment to the next. It must be so strange to not be able to explain things to yourself, like when Rameshan battles with himself, trying to convince himself that he flipped the switch on his motorbike when he actually did not.
I have to be honest, after that slow build-up, I was a little bit disappointed how fast Rameshan's condition is declining. It's more or less one critical day where everything is completely falling apart for him, and when his family gets the diagnosis of Alzheimer's, he's almost gone already. How that day is depicted is very strong, and it's heartbreaking to see Rameshan this way, but I felt it was a bit exaggerated and also wasted potential not to portray it in a way that lets him understand where things are going and to continue this slow decline. But I also thought that I definitely have to look this up, and maybe this very sudden fast progression is in fact something that really happens. And yes, it actually can happen that way, especially with early onset Alzheimer's.
It's such a sinister disease to in a way just lose yourself and your identity, but not really realizing it, especially after it progresses further. I think it's one of these fundamental fears of every human being. It's great to see that a mainstream family movie is addressing this very serious topic.
I agree, and adding to what you just said about losing one's identity is of course the fact that your family, your relatives, all the people around you are much more aware of the changes that you are going through. Something that's also addressed by the doctor in Thanmathra.
This sudden fear of losing somebody in one way or the other is one of the most terrifying feelings that exist, and I've been there. Your mind goes crazy with thoughts, going through all kinds of options of how things will be from now on. You really don't know what to do and what to think, but you somehow have to cope with it. There's no alternative really. And Thanmathra does a good job in showing us the cycle of life through Rameshan's family, how they run through the different stages of coping with this situation.
Arjun Lal is really good as Rameshan's son Manu, and I was so surprised to find out that he only acted in one other film. Like you said, Alzheimer's is a disease that really affects the people around, and the movie is structured and told in a way that puts a big emphasis on this father-son relationship, and I liked how it opened up with Manu and then also closes with him.
The second important strong father-son relationship is of course the one of Rameshan and his father Krishnan. You can feel their bond, and you can feel and see the sadness in Krishnan's eyes every time he thinks about the old times when things were normal. There is this haunting little moment when Rameshan is missing and they believe him to be swimming in the pond, but they can't find him there, and then Krishnan says to Lekha that nothing's going to happen to Rameshan because he knows how to swim, and then they look at each other realizing that he might have forgotten that too. It's a great and horrible moment.
Talking about Lekha, an aspect that really bothered me quite a bit is the casting of Meera Vasudevan. There's really nothing wrong with her performance, but Mohanlal is twice her age, and it's fine if one partner is a lot older than the other, but the problem is they also have a son who's almost grown up, and Meera Vasudevan was 22 at the time, and she also looks very young. I think by casting someone older in the role, it would have made the family dynamic even stronger.
Yeah, good point. That's actually something that happens quite often in Indian cinema, and it almost never is not noticeable.
Exactly.
Let's talk about the music and the songs, and relating to that, the melodrama of Thanmathra. It's a bit too much in some moments, don't you think?
Oh yes, while I enjoyed all the songs quite a bit, the music oftentimes leaned too much towards melodrama for my taste.
I agree. I liked Meleveli and Katru very much. They're both very romantic and lyrical songs, but the music by Mohan Sitara now and then is too blatantly signifying what you should feel in that specific moment, as if what you see wasn't enough. One theme is like this crazy clown music that's probably supposed to punctuate Rameshan's loss of control, but it's just distracting. And another recurring theme, and a theme of which I'm pretty sure that is actually composed by John Barry, is so melodramatic in connection with the scenes that it's used in, that it feels like they are shouting to the viewer, "Cry your heart out now!"
Thanmathra is a little bit too melodramatic in general, but I of course totally get that this is what most people, especially at the time the movie was released, were used to or looking forward to. But it's of course also not what really distinguishes this movie. It's the topic, how to deal and cope with Alzheimer's disease and how it affects the lives of normal people. The acting is great, the songs are good, it's not too long, and the cinematography is also nice. Although unfortunately, there was something a bit off with the aspect ratio on Hotstar. It was a bit distorted.
Yeah. Anyway, what would we say in German about Thanmathra?
Dass sich ein Mainstream-Film wie Thanmathra an eine so ernste und wichtige Thematik wie Alzheimer herantraut, ist großartig. Die eindrucksvollen schauspielerischen Leistungen und die eindringliche und kraftvolle Erzählstruktur lassen die manchmal zu melodramatische Darstellung zudem zum größten Teil im Hintergrund verschwinden. I give Thanmathra 7 out of 10. It's more like 7.1, but I don't do that.
For me, it's 8 out of 10. It's more like 7.5, but I don't do that either. Did you know that in 2016, researchers of the University of Florida believed that they discovered a way to diagnose early-stage Alzheimer's by conducting a peanut butter smell test on study participants to determine if there is a relationship between loss of smell and early detection of Alzheimer's disease?
Didn't know that. Did it work?
Unfortunately, no. A follow-up study failed to replicate the findings.
Too bad. So, what are your thoughts about Thanmathra? Leave a comment and hit me up on Twitter, Instagram and Letterboxd, and also on Patreon, simply at the Jimmy Cage.
And you can hit me up on Twitter at the Buddymeister.
You can now also become a member of the channel and get exclusive rewards. And if you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up, share, subscribe, whatever you like. And make sure you hit that bell for all we have to tell.